Donald Trump gives an impromptu tour of the construction going on at the White House. I guess governing will have to wait until tomorrow. This is just another day. This just in, we've got some breaking news from the White House.
President Trump summoned reporters unexpectedly a few moments ago for a tour and unveiled a brand new construction project we haven't previously reported here at the White House, and that is that he is replacing the asphalt on the White House driveway with a brand new granite.
What great news! Americans can finally say goodbye to the White House's old granite. Not to be confused with the fact that at the same time, they're saying goodbye to their old granny, who thanks to Trump, can no longer afford her healthcare bills. Gosh, I wasn't a huge believer in serendipity until now. But let's hear more about how Donald Trump is literally paving the way for the next generation.
The president telling reporters this was always asphalt, which is very basic, not appropriate for a great house, and it's been replaced with this California white granite that he described as a very special stone.
White granite, you say? What a surprising choice. I wonder if the president chose that style himself, or if he lined up various shades of granite and had Elon point to his favorite. But if you thought this president was just gonna waddle out of his office with those balloon ankles to discuss a simple driveway, well, then you don't know Donald Trump.
He also, for the first time, addressed the helipad that we have seen. They started construction on it in June, right after his UFC fight on the White House South Lawn. And a couple of weeks ago, we saw it start to get disassembled, the progress that they had made over a couple of days. President Trump said that he personally was involved in that he was unhappy with the grading and the slope of the helipad as it had been constructed, really speaking to how invested personally the president has been.
Just as a quick reminder, Donald Trump is willing to put the act of governing aside so that he can site manage on his ego-boosting construction projects, but when it comes to signing his name on a piece of paper to provide housing relief to millions of Americans?
He said that in a Truth Social post, "I will not sign the housing bill, which has been fully approved by Congress and sent to the White House in protest over the fact that the United States Senate is not capable of passing the Save America Act."
But hey, not to worry. If you're a Trump supporter who still can't afford a house, I'm sure a sizable donation to the Trump Fund will score you a place to crash on his all-new taxpayer-funded helipad. Whether it's bulldozing the East Wing for his ballroom, slapping his name on someone else's memorial, or shaking down CEOs until they shower him with gifts, there is nothing this man can't accomplish. Unless, of course, it involves helping others. But maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm being too narrow-minded and should really learn to appreciate the astonishing level of luxury that Trump is bringing to 1600 Penn.
It's a million-year life. It's a very strong stone. It will never break. It will never leak. It will never do anything. This is the highest quality stone you can get, and especially for something like this, it's rated a million-year plus. That means it has a million-year life. Can you imagine that?
See, Donald Trump didn't cheap out by getting the million-year stone plan. He went with the million-year plus plan because the man cares. Yes, while the rest of the Earth will be virtually unrecognizable thanks to the ravages of time, climate change, shifting continents, supervolcanoes, and the advancements in technology that our brains can't even fathom, that stone will be 100% perfectly intact. And at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that that is what matters. But Mr. President, apologies for the interruption. The incredibly opulent and wasteful floor is yours.
This carries on out into the helipad. The pad is out there now. It's very close to being finished. The hard work is done. The beautiful work is finished. They're putting the granite top on. And the granite top says, "The seal of the United States of America." That's the exact term. If you look at the seals of the presidents, the seal of the President of the United States of America, meaning the president is in the White House.
Isn't it nice to have a president who explains the most basic things in the greatest of detail so that he feels smarter? I find it incredibly comforting, and I'm really looking forward to his next symposium on stop signs, where he dazzles the American public with his knowledge about how those red, octagonal-shaped indicators are used to notify drivers that they should stop. But I know a lot of you out there are probably thinking, I'm struggling to afford pretty much everything right now thanks to Donald Trump's policies, but also, I'm desperately wondering about the status of the White House grass. Well, not to worry. This man has you covered.
This has all been redone. It's all been topsoiled. In other words, we put topsoil, brand new earth on top. Lot of good ingredients in that earth for grass. If you're grass, you're very happy.
That's true. If you're grass, you are very happy. Although if you happen to be one of those non-grass humans struggling to get access to healthcare, or who can't afford to pay for groceries, or who can't fill up their car with gas because the non-grass human leader decided to get America into an intractable war, then you might be slightly less happy. Donald Trump spent over 32 minutes meandering around the White House grounds, bragging about his building projects, and I'm not sure I've ever seen him happier. Well, besides the day that he thought he might make it to second base with this one. The reality is, Donald Trump is a shitty builder whose side hustle is the presidency. He doesn't care about how any of his choices affect the American people, because as long as he's got his crystal chandeliers and his white granite driveway, he'll be just fine. And if you needed any more proof that he doesn't put too much thought into what good governance would look like, just take a look at Darlene Graham, Donald Trump's top pick to succeed Lindsey Graham in the U.S. Senate.
Senator, are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? If so, why?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? And if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, but I do support the military.
And as brutal as that was, and it was brutal, pretty refreshing to see that level of honesty from a Republican candidate. We sure have come a long way from this.
When it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
Like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have been in front of me over all these years.
See? Isn't it refreshing to know that while America will always have incompetent candidates, that doesn't mean those incompetent candidates won't evolve. Not with knowledge, but with new and interesting ways to explain away their incompetence. And I have to say, bravo Darlene on that last Hail Mary of, but I do support the military. That almost rose to Billy Madison levels.
But the industry, my friends, that was a revolution. Nip-high football rules!
See, Billy wasn't wrong, he was just early. When America has a president who's more focused on building ballrooms and helipads than he is on doing his job, there is a massive cost to American taxpayers. Not just in terms of the lack of leadership, or our national security, or our overall economy, but there's also the massive literal cost.
There's some new reporting from the Washington Post that says that the totality of President Trump's White House projects, the Rose Garden, the helipad, presumably also this new driveway, which the president claimed he was in part funding, as well as the ballroom, is going to cost a total of $900 million.
$900 million. I bet that's almost as much as Donald Trump has spent on his entire war with Iran.
Operation Epic Fury is costing the United States nearly $900 million per day by one estimate.
Or per day. But hey, at least we can rest easy knowing that gas prices are lower than they've been in a year.
So President Trump asking Americans for patience and paying a little bit more for gas, because the unified message from here is that gas prices will drop quickly once the operation's finished. The president says that he has to do this to make sure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon.
Now, I know this statistic may not feel true, but that's only because it isn't.
Yesterday, we aired a graphic that showed gas prices incorrectly last year were $4.13 a gallon. They are, in fact, $3.13 a gallon. That's 90 cents more in the past year.
Is there anything better than an on-air correction from Fox News? So rare, yet so gratifying. It's like finding a four-leaf clover, if that four-leaf clover hated black people. The fact of the matter is, while inflation is surging, while food costs are rising, while access to food assistance and healthcare has become unreachable to millions of Americans, Donald Trump has made a slew of exorbitantly expensive vanity projects his primary focus.
Can you imagine that?
I unfortunately can.